We are live with the Amateur World League Week 2, Day 1. Hi, everyone. My name is Quinn, better known as Colorblind, and I'm joined with Kamaka. Kamaka, how you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty great as per usual. It's always a great day when I get to cast the Chaos Major, aka the AWL presented by NGNL. Tonight, guys, we got two games for you actually. First of which is going to be Tilted Gaming versus Elation Esports. This is going to be in Pool A. Currently, Tilted has not won a single game yet, and Elation, they've won a single game, lost the other one, so they're dead tied.
Yeah, no, as you said, Tilted coming off 0-2. Not necessarily the start that they want. Elation as well. It's an okay start, but 3 games to go, including this one, so there's still a lot of ground for these teams to prove themselves, and we're going to be kicking things off on Hardpoint with Karachi. Before we go into Skid Row for some S&D, Invasion will be our control, and if we need an extra Hardpoint or S&D, well, it won't matter. Both of them will be Invasion. Lots of Invasion coming up here tonight, and as you said, 2 matchups here. Let's get on into it.
Yes, and just note that the team names are going to be swapped up. Codcaster still getting the better of me every single time I go into these. But yeah, we're starting things off quite nicely with Tilted Gaming going to be on the worst side of the map, going to be trying to get spawns.
Yeah, again, the Codcaster is going to make things a little bit difficult, but that is perfectly fine, as I want to check and make sure the graphic is right? That is a good thing to go off of?
Yeah, unfortunately there is no graphic, so...
My brain just completely gave out on me, but nonetheless, both teams going back and forth for P1 control. Of course, it ultimately does come down to who's going to get those spawns for that next rotation, though.
Yep, and OP is going to be one of the people watching it. He hasn't died yet, but Theatrix is going to be trying to put on a little bit of a show for us here, but OP going to be doing the loop-de-loop and pull, and his shoes are looking cool on a Deuce J, but... yeah, that's not going to be all that matters because, as you can see, Tilted Gaming are going to be here in a lot more force. Eternal going to be forced to play a little bit further back. Not really going to be able to do much just hopping over the wall into instant death.
And the very interesting part about the setup, you see number 2 and 3, that's Deuces and teammates in the backlines of Tilted Gaming, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can get some kills to go. Now, though, Tilted look to be converging onto this point, trying to provide that pressure. It's just going to be Theatrical all alone. Teammates outside, trying to provide a little bit of support for his teammate, but his fallen teammate will be down on the point. So you're just seeing Elation trying full sending on in, and it's going to go.
Oh yeah, OPX looking pretty solid right now at 6-2. Definitely doing a good job in the entry department for his team. Breaking the hill right on back, and not a second before their opponents were about to start running away with the lead. But as you can see, Tilted Gaming are going to be gifted the rotation. They're trying to keep it once again. The spawn flip is going to be a little bit late. So again, it does give Tilted a little bit of an advantage going into this. Will they be able to hold it as long as they did last time? That's going to be my real question though, as teammates all by himself.
Oh, it's going to come down to teammates. He's going to have some reinforcements spawning in, but you also see those spawns heavily flipped, trying to pull out the Medea method is not going to work, as it looks like Elation might have some decent control going the rest of the way. Eternal putting up those kills. That's what we expect out of a player like him on a 2 screen right now, looking to add to his total tally. Teammates is going to have to hit the dirt, and just continuing to apply the pressure, though, are Tilted Gaming.
Yeah, for those of you guys that have been watching a little bit of the early lands and big events for this Call of Duty, yes, this is the same Eternal from Cbus that was playing with Cells, had a really amazing performance and is still doing pretty much the same online. I just had to ask, and he said, yes, it is me. And casters always remember good players like that.
Yeah, no, cannot forget a performance like his at LAN, but nonetheless, Elation picking up a lot of time off of P2. Now we rotate over towards P3, though, and again, it goes down to Tilted Gaming. They have so much in terms of those rotations. It's just ultimately going to come down to whether they can hold for those kills as well on top of it. So far, so good, looking to gather some time in P3, but that's going to be extra difficult when you have OPX running in with the gunny, absolutely frying it up. Theatrical will close, and that is going to be Tilted Gaming with the spawns.
Yep, Tilted Gaming with the spawns and the objective as well, but I mean, not if OPX has anything to say about it. I guess he doesn't really have too much to say about it in this case, but yeah, this should be hopefully some good time for Tilted. This is not a hill that I typically see a lot of time going one way or the other on, just because, as you can see, there's so many things to cover, so many different ways that you can get shot at from. If you are going to be covering all the angles inside, you leave yourself very vulnerable to the outside of the map, which leaves you vulnerable on this rotation here. But as you can see, they left Deuce J out here trying to make sure that, you know, they don't get completely left in the dust like they currently are right now. sometimes it just can't be helped.
Yeah, he almost put the team on his back, though, had 2 kills to go, but OPX is just proving to be too OP for him. Lone player in the point, though, going to have to wait for his reinforcements to come on in. This kill is going to be absolutely massive. Teammates will walk away with it, and as well, some control moving forward as Tilted Gaming collapsing onto the hard points.
Yep, and it's going to be 1 versus 1 left on the objective. Seeing the door open, you ain't slick. So yes, he does actually kill him, slides right into the headshot. But again, Elation Gaming are going to be in there with a lot more force. That's been pretty much the story for a lot of these objectives. Yeah, they treat out kind of evenly generally, as you can tell by the KDs as well. But the reinforced ticks coming in from Elation are just a lot quicker, mostly due to their good spawn placements.
Yeah, that was a mixy hard point, though, all things considered. Ultimately, the scrap will go the way of Elation as Ice Cubes is there to pick that up. Will cross them as well into that 100-point barrier, but now P1 comes online, and this is a very different P1, as now you start to see teams, especially when things are this close, start to sell their souls a little bit for this. Looks like Elation will have the early goings, at least unless Theatrical has something to say.
Yeah, Trix definitely being a little bit careful.
Okay, Trix, huh?
Yeah, he knows what he's dealing with here, has to make sure that Theatrical doesn't get the turn and burn on him as well, doesn't want to get embarrassed live on stream. But yeah, obviously, a little bit of jokes going on there. Great stuff going on here for Elation. They are about 30. Ooh, teammate! Putting OPS on some skates there. Well played, dude. About just enough time for them to get about even with their opponents, and as you can see here, Theatrical going for the rotation once again. Tricksta is going to be here about the same time, sees one across as well. Unfortunately, gets a little bit distracted, and Tricksta will secure the rotate.
Yeah, the COD timing on that, very unfortunate. Fortunate if you are Tricksta, though, so he'll have a lot of time to set up for Elation on that rotation. And now we start to see the left foot, right foot express heading on over towards P2. Choo-choo, as you see Theatrical trying to make the first point of contact on in. You got to check your backside, Tricksta. Will be dropped, and the kills will continue to justify the way of Tilted Gaming, as that's a clean break just 7 seconds into the point.
Yeah, what a flank from Theatrical, and it was completely unexpected from Elation, I mean. And you can tell that it was unexpected, and it caused a little bit of concern for them, because if you looked at the minimap, you would see as soon as he got that kill, all of them turned around and looked exactly where he was, and at the exact same moment as well, the other guys just flew right on in for a solid break. Great flank coming out from him, but unfortunately doesn't really amount to too much, as you can see here, as Elation are going to be getting not only the rotation, but the scrap time of 20 seconds as well.
Yeah, that is a huge thing for them to pocket, especially when things are this close down the stretch. That's going to make them set up pretty and ready to go. Eternal will continue to get those kills to justify the way of Elation as well. Trophy systems going down, and now things are starting to look a little bit dicey here for Tilted Gaming, as they don't have the setup. They're going to have to go through this break, the rotation as well. We'll see Elation have the player personnel advantage when Eternal has that setup as well. You just cannot do anything here if you're Tilted Gaming. You're working in the blender, and you're not going to be able to work through it too much unless Theatrical has something to say. 2 kills on the board for him, and he's continuing to peek it up.
Oh, and OPX just going to try and blind fire him through the door. Almost slides into a sticky grenade, but barely avoiding Tricksta. In the meantime, Eternal still laying down the firepower. UF trying to get around the back here as well, but Tricksta is saying, you're not going to fool us the same way twice. It's not going to, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. And so they will be able to get past the 200-point mark here, and now going to be looking for a rotation with Goose J is desperately trying to hold on to. Only 7 kills so far this game. Ouch. But he gets 2 more right there when he really needs to.
Now, luckily here for Tilted Gaming, they are going to have those spawns over towards New. That being said, Elation is just about 25 points away from closing this whole entire thing out. Tilted Gaming, they're going to have to look for a picture-perfect hard point from this point forward, and it all starts with T-Main's first kill on the board for him. Will at least stop the assault for the meantime for Elation, and on a 5 spree as well is Tricksta, who's just continuing to pick up those kills one by one. Things are starting to look very dire on the side of Elation.
Oh, he's in some deep trouble here. You can see Eternal. He smells blood right beneath him. He's breathing down his neck, and he's actually kind of just waiting for Ice Cube to come in here and give him a little bit of a bait trade, maybe. Yeah, no, trying to come in around the side, around the back. He knows that Deuce J is here, though. He's going to try and get a pixel of his foot, and he will be able to get the better of him now. Trying to fly in, gets teammate now as well, and Eternal will secure the objective for himself as well during the Chaos. Elation did get, I mean, Tilted did get a pretty decent amount of time off of that, but again, with the amount of time that Elation already has in their back pockets, they can afford to play like this. That break gets them only 10 seconds away from them.
Yeah, no, it's basically over from this point forward. Again, Tilted Gaming, they're in a spot now where their back is against the wall. They're going to have to give it their all. Luckily, they will have that rotation to go, but the rotation gets picked apart one by one. They drop, and you now start to see the presence over towards New out of Elation. They're going to have those kills to justify as well, unless Deuce has something to say. Checkerboard in the feed. Deuce is going to have to pull off a heroic effort here. 4 seconds needed out of Elation. He'll just barely break his way on into the point, trying to fortify with the trophy system, but Eternal around the corner with the Renetti will potentially call the game here. Theatrical, the last-ditch effort into the point. He'll be dropped as well, and it's just hellfire out the side of Elation as they'll pick up map 1.
Yep, don't let your eyes be deceived, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually Elation be taking this map number 1, despite some good efforts at times from Tilted. Elation, they just had a lot better rotations. The trades were even generally a lot of the time, but yeah, just a lot better positioning, a lot better reinforcing, always being the last people alive at the end of these team fights.
Yeah, no, those rotations, absolutely fantastic. The kills as well, it tells a very different story here. 27 and 14 being the best on the side of Elation. And again, those of you at home, Codcaster, of course, is going to give its qualms for us, but we'll keep you honest whenever it does end up happening. That's Elation taking map number 1, 250 to 155. And now they start to set themselves up in this best of 5. I mean, they're in the driver's seat, all things considered.
I mean, yeah, I would definitely argue that that is 100% the case. They looked really good in the hard point, and that's like, what's two fifths as a percentage there? God, caster math really bad. It's 2/5 of the series. If these guys do go ahead and win one more, we will at least have another hard point to go. And we've seen that these guys have really good fundamentals in the hard point. Pretty much every single time saying, all right, we're gonna have the spawns that we want. The only time, if you do recall, that Tilted had any spawns at all was when their opponents were like, all right, we're going to go and take these ones. You guys can have these other ones. We don't really care. They kind of bullied them around quite a lot, I will say. And so that is, again, just good hardpoint fundamentals. But going into Search and Destroy, I think that, I don't know, what I've seen so far this season, Colorblind, and in a lot of early on COD seasons in general, is teams that aren't very good at hardpoint are generally pretty good in Search and Destroy. Although, I wouldn't necessarily make the leap that they are better at Search and Destroy than Eternal and Trixa, because these guys, I know. I've seen Eternal on LAN. He fries. He's good. Trixa, he's pretty much the same. These guys are good at Search and Destroy. So I'm not necessarily going to make the leap that just because, oh, they got him in Hardpoint, but they might beat him in Search and Destroy. I don't know about that.
I mean, you flagged Eternal there, and that's the player that I'm looking out for most within this matchup, because again, we saw what he can do out in Columbus. That man, if you let him get going, which we saw on that hard point, it gets very dicey very quickly, and ultimately it feels like he was definitely a driving force for Elation. Again, coming into this on paper as well, this is kind of going how we expected. Tilted again 0-2 in week 1, did not get the start that they wanted to, as all, and you really don't want to have to rely on a S&D or be the team that goes through S&D as being your main prowess, because of course you got to win those respawns as well, and just the gunplay between the two teams. Elation had them just every step of the way in terms of that as well. The kills and deaths and all of that kind of culminate in a very convincing Elation win, and I'm looking towards that invasion control being the main flux point of this series, especially if Tilted Gaming can pick up the S&D. It's going to come down to that control in terms of where we're going within this series.
Yeah, especially since honestly, not a whole lot of teams are going to be super duper practiced in control. It's been it's been a mode in rotation not as long as Hardpoint and Search and Destroy. In fact, we were pretty much playing, especially in the LAN I just casted, we were literally only doing like Hardpoints and Search and Destroy. So yeah, I know that for pretty much the first month or so of the game, people were strictly doing hardpoint, maybe a little bit of Search and Destroy. But only the teams that are true grinders are like masters of control by now. So we'll see who are the true grinders here, Colorblind.
We definitely will. And just again, when we stack it up, I mean, S&D, of course, is a good game mode to have your control over, but control is a respawn in the grand scheme of things. So when you look better on a respawn than you do S&D, I tend to say, hey, you know what? That might be fine in the grand scope of the series if you can keep those respawn games going. Because again, you don't need to win S&D. If you want to get to map 4, you can just take all the respawn game modes and just soak all of that up if you are Elation. And this is, again, assuming Tilted Gaming can get their heads back into this, take that S&D and keep us in a 4-map rotation here. But again, nonetheless, it all boils down to how that map 1 went. Elation just looking so good off the rip here.
Yep, and ladies and gentlemen, while we are going to be getting ready to go into this next map, we're going to go to a quick break while we swap up the lobbies. But don't go anywhere. This series is just starting to get interesting. We'll be right back on Skid Row.
Said it wouldn't be a long break. Skid Row, S&D up and ready to go. Let's not stall. Let's bounce on into the action with the Codcaster reared and ready to go as well. Tilted Gaming starting off on the attack. And Ice Cube starting off with one. Not going to be able to center for the second or the third there. Preventing a disaster, all things considered theatrical.
Yep, and Eternal knows that they're trying to hit all the way through the bottom side of the map. He's trying to be in position to counter this. They're not going to run through the middle of the open, so this is the only reasonable angle they can take. And he is holding it. Sees one cross, sees two, takes on one at a time. 69 HP remaining, stuns himself out. Nice. He should get away with that cleanly.
Yeah, that's a great play out of him. And now a little bit of separation we're starting to see as well from Tilted Gaming. The pincer could potentially be the play here, but you've got to be very careful that OPX does not sneak up on you. Theatrical now going around the corner. Luckily checks the corner, finds the kill off onto Eternal, who hadn't moved. Now comes down to a 2v2. Much more manageable here in Elation, though, finding that next kill. So it does just come down. Theatrical 1v2 with 25 seconds left to work.
Oh, unfortunately, not quite going to be able to suss that guy out of that corner. He did a pretty good job of checking his corners, all things considered, but with the time remaining, couldn't really do too much. And so Trixa going to be coming out of this with half the team's kills and a round win for themselves.
Very good plays there all around out of Elation. And again, Trixa starting off hot, as is the rest of his squad in terms of the gunny. We were really talking about this heading into this S&D. This becomes a really important game within the series based on how that hard point went for Tilted Gaming. They don't walk away with this, Kamika. It's going to look very, very difficult, not within the series itself, but just in general.
Yeah, I guess you could say they're probably going to get a little tilted if they don't come away with this round win. But either way.
I wish I had... Oh, hold on. That, yeah, there we go. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for the sound effect. But ooh, T-Main going to be seeing OPX going right to the bomb site. They think, oh, there's nobody here, but psych, you're wrong. T-Main sitting right here. Going to be gunning Eternal off that heady as well. Does recover the bomb though, but yeah, in a little bit of a rough spot away from the rest of his team, and not really going to be able to do much when he's stuck in that spot. Theatrical though, going to get a little bit too curious, and curiosity killed the cat, you know, and it kills him as well. So, Elation, now with the kill back, going to try and make their way across the bottom side, where the only other player they know is.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tough operation point for them. 2F as well will pick up those 2 pieces. I guess the 2 in his name means 2 pieces, not just 2F. He might want to change that to 2P. Tilted Gaming, though, responding in kind. Yeah, that was a very hard spot for Elation to operate from, especially with the bomb down and upper. You just really have to play the wraparound game and hope to God that 2F doesn't fry you like that, but not much going.
Yep, solid round for 2F. Going to be going from 0 to 3, as you can see here. And with this as well, if he's able to keep this going, and honestly, I think they should probably try and play for streaks for him a little bit here. The game's been pretty close, all things considered, but if they're able to bait out for him nicely, oh, not quite going to be able to, but T-Main at least gets 1 back the other side. And yeah, this is going to be putting a nice little lead going on here for, oh, a very nice lead now that T-Main goes down for Elation.
Yeah, you blink and deuce in a 1v3 now. Not a lot of information to work with as well. Ice Cube's waiting for him right around the corner, but he's going to take the long chow, and that is not going to go his way. Elation, another round on the board. Those defensive rounds seem to just be the ones that continue to pile on.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like that, but yeah, I'm just wondering if these guys are starting to establish some tendencies of what these guys are doing. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of crazy stuff you can do on this map, to be totally honest with you. There are very strict routes that you have to adhere to, otherwise you're pretty much going to get shot right out in the middle of the open. This map is really deceivingly open, so yeah, I'm not quite sure what adjustments they're going to make aside from just wrapping around all the way through the bottom side of the map, trying to play something a little bit different than they did before, which is exactly what they're doing here, as you can see, and it is completely undefended by Tilted.
Yeah, Tilted just not reading into this whatsoever. Looks like the hit's going to be over towards A. You do have teammates waiting in that long route, does get some information to go as well, so now you're going to expect a little bit more pressure to be felt here for the Elation players, but no, they're just going to work their way straight on into B. Stun checks go in, and you have 2F waiting in the reconnaissance above, but not going to be able to get any kills. Instead, it's Deuce. First kill on the board will prevent the bomb plant to go.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to just run straight on in, because 2F, if he knows you're coming, he can see you in that bomb plant scenario. He can, generally, most places you plant, most of the places you want to plant, he can see you and shoot you and kill you. So, yeah, well played from him, able to get 1 for them, but unfortunately, Elation going to be a little bit ratty here as well. Trixa going to be getting his 4th kill and a free rotate towards his bomb plant. And now Tilted, they're going to be having the same issue that Elation was having, and that they have very limited routes to take.
Yeah, no, how the turns have tabled here. Tilted just completely gave up that A point as well to full throttle over towards B, and I mean, it works in the small term, but in the long term, it just doesn't, and the kills continue to go the way of Elation. Eternal is now starting to schmoove and groove his way through the map, and just comes down to Tricksta. He's going to get that kill to go. Elation, first attacker side round on the board.
Yep, and solid wraparound all around from them. They, yeah, it didn't work out too well at first for them. What I do like about how they played that, though, is when they saw, okay, well, there's a guy over on A, let's go over to B, they were very flexible in how they approached the map. You saw at first they tried to go into the main area by A, and they're like, oh, it's defended, there's a guy sitting back those stairs heady, and they're like, all right, let's try our end at B. They go to B, they get shot at a little bit, they wrap back around to A, they have Tricksta going and riding around all the meantime, finds a kill. It just seems to be very fast and loose gameplay, but in a very good way.
The interesting thing about how this round is playing out in the early game, at least, is we've seen the same route time and time again. Tilted Gaming, though, taking a new route on the opposite side of the map, and some way, somehow, Ice Cube's not able to walk away with the kill, but instead is OPX in the back lines, and he is starting to wreak some havoc. The pincer, absolutely huge and paying dividends for Elation in the early round.
Oh yeah, when you see them hitting that route like that, there's only one way they can really be going in Elation. They saw it, they're going in, and they absolutely clean up house. Well played by Elation. Again, they got the early intel, they saw 2F cross, and they're like, all right, there's only one play that they could be doing here. And Eternal, they go all in on the play as well, full committing to the wraparound, trying to sandwich them in here. He's like, all right, I only saw one cross. There's only one place these guys can be here. It's in the alley or in this house. And so they're like, all right, we'll take that information. We'll go right on in. We'll shoot everybody in the back while they're still focusing forward.
Yeah, and I want to point out as well, Elation, you're starting to see it on the map as well. They feel very, very confident on the defensive side. They were so aggressive towards the route that we've seen every attacker side go up until that round. So unbelievably aggressive. And when they realized Tilted Gaming wasn't there, they were like, oh, okay, easy wraparound. Let's get it going. That being said, Tilted Gaming showing some similar aggression. And Checkerboard in the feed to kick things off as both teams exchanging blows.
There's no way. Oh, there's no way Tricksta kills him like that. That is illegal gameplay right there from Tricksta, dude. Oh. Jesus Christ, Elation really running away with that round.
Oh, yeah, no, at this point, it might be Jover. I mean, look at this. There is nothing that you can do. Elation, my goodness. It's just, again, you can see it on the map, the aggression. They know that no matter what they do up until this point, they have been able to do it. So why not just keep on doing it, you know?
I mean, I really don't see a reason why not 3 there, Quinn, but like, yeah, I'm starting to, you know how I was saying in the beginning that typically I give teams the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, they're good at Search and Destroy. This is why I didn't make that benefit of the doubt, because I know that Elation, these guys are pretty good at Search and Destroy. Tricksta and Eternal, especially, and clearly Ice Cubes as well, as Eternal opens things up. OPX following up with another. It is just a blood hunt. They are gunning them down mercilessly in T-Main already within 20 seconds is alone.
Yeah, Team Mains is gonna have to play Search and Destroy in a team deathmatch lobby at this point. I mean, you're not able to do anything from this back end as well. Bomb is down. Elation, you might as well just call the round. Team Mains, if you can, just slash kill in the console because it is over. Elation will walk away with the map here, and Kamika, so much dominance as teammates just desperately trying to hold on for dear life. There's no much going here. It's Jover, bro. Get out of there.
Oh yes, just as quickly as it started, just as quickly it ends, or I guess a little bit of a prolonged death in that final round for Tilted Gaming, but either way, the result is the same. Elation coming out pretty solidly in the Search and Destroy, even better than in that hard point, seriously.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, the hard point was very close in the beginning stretch. It was just Elation catching wind down the stretch. I mean, outside of the first 2 rounds where they went blow for blow, it was all Elation in the kill feed, all Elation in terms of map control as well. I mean, they had their way with Skid Row.
I mean, yeah, they definitely did, dude. It's, I honestly, this is a map I've casted the least in terms of Search and Destroys. I don't know how often it's played. Generally, I've played enough to know where, like, you know, typically that how the map plays out, but knowing how it plays in like scrims and maybe in my case public matches is a lot different than a team that is like super duper experienced. And you could tell like these guys, they know the plays. They know, all right, if they're coming from the top of the map, we can just hit a quick wraparound on them, envelop them. They had counter plays to every single play that their opponent was doing, and barring one round, they executed it perfectly every single time. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just sort of like something that Tilted is going to have to realize on this map is that there are pretty much counter plays for every single play on the offense, and you're going to have to find a way to counter the counter plays, know what to expect. Like, hey, our opponents are going to flank us from here. We just got to set up like this or just not do it at all, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, on the other side of the coin, if anybody was looking for a how to play Skid Row S&D, look no further than Elation. I mean, again, it's just every step of the way they had map control. Every step of the way, it felt like they had player personnel advantage, especially in the latter half of that. I mean, again, they were just playing team deathmatch. I guess really the only thing that we can give to Tilted Gaming here down the stretch within the series is the fact that, hey, if they're good at invasion, the series is set up for them. I mean, 3 invasion maps to go if we go the distance, but it's going to have to come through control, and we saw them on that respawn. Elation just had their number. Again, map change might be the saving grace here, but it's a long shot.
I do apologize. It appears as though my camera has decided to die at this exact moment here, and I'm trying to fix that. So me and Q are going to go to a quick break here. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Well, it comes down to this, folks. Currently, Elation up 2-0 in the series, but we still have potentially 3 maps to go, all 3 of those being which will played on Evasion. But we're going to have to see how this control goes to kick things off. And I'm very excited. This is the first control that I will cast all season. And as you alluded to earlier, control is kind of an interesting game mode within scrims, no?
Yeah, it's one that wasn't really a whole big part of the scrims until, you know, that it actually got determined which ones would actually be in here. It was pretty much only hard points, but as you can see, Tilted Gaming, they've got a little bit of experience with it so far in like the week or 2 that it has been in the rotations. Gonna be trying to start things off onto B, but what I've seen be pretty successful on this map, Q, is going for A. If you can get control over that bottom side of the map, it is completely over, and your opponents will have no hope of getting it back from you.
Yeah, no, A is dormant right now. It's all looking over towards B, but Elation one after another picking them apart. Deuce will find one, but he'll immediately be refragged by ice cubes, and Elation still with those spawns over towards A, still applying the pressure over towards B, holding this thing down really, really well. Tilted Gaming with the first tick, but they're going to have to get a lot more going and might even want to, again, switch up that strat a little bit.
At this point, I'm not necessarily sure about that, because as you can see, Theatrical, they do finally find a break back in here, and they know that their opponents are going to be spawning towards the bottom side here. Deuce J going to be trying to watch that cross, and is going to be cutting off that precious supply line of players. And so, yeah, they know exactly where their opponents are going to be. They see that they're all running away from that towards B, and with that opens up an opportunity onto A here as well. This is great usage of your intel here. T-Main, if he can get on this objective, especially if he can kill Trickster, he sees him too, he lands a headshot, but can't quite hit the follow-ups.
That would have been absolute devastation there, but instead, Elation must feel elated because they're going to walk away as well with still B being online, 24 seconds left, and OPX is starting to spawn camp them as well. Third kill on the board for him. Trixta will follow it up with another, and this is starting to look a little bit dicey here for Tilted. Theatrical will find his way on the front of the funnel, is going to be very difficult to get through when OPX is frying one by one. Teammates, though, in the desperate times, they call for desperate measures. He's going to have to snake his way through for the rest of B. He will get it. Minute bonus added, but now you still have to get A.
Oh, but the fact that they're able to get anything at all out of that situation is still pretty good, all things considered. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put it past them to get a tick if they do somehow manage to get this rotation correctly. Oh, unlucky timing for Theatrical. Does die literally at the worst time humanly possible. 2F trying to go for a little bit of rotate through the spawn, and yeah, it's basically done and dusted. Teammate maybe can get a couple of kills here, maybe start getting some streaks going. That's pretty much all he's going to get, because as you can see, well and truly stuck. Not a lot of time, might just be a little bit of a waiting game.
Yeah, no, at this point, they're just going to hunt him down one by one. Maybe if he gets one of these kills or kill or two, he can go towards a nice little frag montage. But again, they're just applying all that pressure, and there's not a whole lot you can do. Elation will eventually walk away with the round. But as you said, Tilted, picking up a single site in the grand scheme of things, that is a good tick their way.
Yeah, it's good considering the positioning. I would say it's about average or a little bit below average from what I've seen so far. Usually I see teams that are about equal with each other getting like 3 or about 4. 4 is generally what I see, like one tick on A if you start things off like that, or you get full A and nothing on B, 1 tick on B, something like that. Usually they're what I'm saying is that they're still doing pretty decent despite the fact that 2 of their players are contributing a lot to the deaths and not a whole lot to the kills, as you can see here. I hate to name names, so I'm not going to, but you can see what with your own eyes. Either way, Deuce J starting things off nicely onto Eternal, but Elation is starting things off nicely with exactly the strat I was talking about and getting complete control over A.
No, they must have a feed into our caster channel because they just funneled on into A, and the worst part about it is the fact that Tilted Gaming had no pressure over there. Luckily, they will still retain these spawns, but Deuce, you gotta start putting up those kills, and you gotta start putting them up immediately, expeditiously. Eternal will eventually find the kill off onto him, and that's gonna be the A site. Gone and dusted. The way of Elation. 2F will walk away with some kills, but that's not going to be enough to swing things as Elation's already on B, and this is starting to fall apart at the seams.
Yep, and this is how it typically goes in this map. You hit out A. If they didn't even have as tightly of a hold as you possibly could, and honestly, with what you just saw, I'm sure that you can only imagine how disgusting of a hold it can be. But 2F trying to come through the middle of the map, but as you can see, Trixta is going to be watching it like an absolute hawk, and now stacking the objective completely. It's going to be looking pretty bad for a hold here, unless Deuce J can do anything at the last minute. Not quite. The stack's going to come in, and it might just be a perfect round for Elation.
Yeah, T-Main's last-ditch effort, gonna find that first kill to go, but OPX, again, just continues to fry. 17 and 7, you see it in the movement. This man is schmovin' on Invasion as Elation walk away with yet another round. Match point, series point now online for them. And again, Kamika, you said it at the beginning of the round, that's the strategy that you suggested, and it worked to perfection. I'm just befuddled by the fact that Tilted left that A site completely wide open.
Yeah, I don't know. What it says to me is that they're just not as experienced on the map as Elation is, but either way, sometimes pain can be a powerful teacher, as you can see right there. There's no better way to learn sometimes than to get absolutely obliterated in a round. Either way, Elation gonna try and go for a cross to prevent the exact same thing from happening to them. Good start from OPX, but unfortunately, in the heads-up gunfight, Tilted are gonna be able to beat them. Just kidding. Trixta staying alive will be able to just mop things up, but teammates still here, maybe able to make something happen.
Oh, T-Main's 2 kills on the board, but is gonna be caught in the middle of a reload by, guess who? It's Trixta. And this is just what we see out of Tilted. They get something going their way, and then Elation immediately just swoons back in and is able to re-mitigate it. There's not a whole lot going their way, except for that B site now, starting to make some good progress over there. Theatrical and 2F, now just Theatrical all alone on the point, trying to land his shots, but OPX puts him on skates. Teammates in a very tough spot trying to operate, looking to make his way back onto B, but does not have a lot of reinforcements. Will be dropped. Elation looking real good.
Yep, and speaking of looking real good, Trickster with 7 kills in a row here, keeping pressure in the middle of the map. Just kidding, what pressure is there? He didn't take a single lick of damage there, and he turns and burns onto one. Almost! Oh, no! Theatrical! Gets absolutely destroyed live on camera by Trickster. He's going for more. This guy is insatiable. Theatrical can't even shoot back. He's afraid. They fear the Trickster. And time is running out for Tilted to do anything.
Trickster is just playing team deathmatch at this point. Add another to his tally, currently on a 10 spree. They're just throwing all the bodies at him because you can't do anything on this map without meeting the hellfire that comes from Trickster. 2 seconds left, nowhere near the point. Elation, a 3-0 to kick the stream off. Oh my goodness, it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it's not an AWL stream if there isn't at least one 3-0 going on here, but we've already got 2. Elation, 3-0 in the series, 3-0 in the maps, putting on a masterclass, definitely showing that these guys are some proper grinders.
Oh my goodness. I mean, look at the kill death disparity here. I just want to point out OPX as well. I know we were giving Trickster his flowers, but OPX, the amount of kills that he had that were not only like really fun to watch, but also completely swayed the map and the control in the way of Elation as well. Just all around, this team looks incredible. And again, down the stretch here, still 2 more games for them to go. I'm looking at them within the pool plays and I'm saying, hey, I mean, you got to watch out for Elation.
Yeah, at this point, I'm pretty sure that gets them at least very close to the top half, although I do have to say they haven't fought some of the more difficult teams in the group. I think they've only fought current 3rd place and these guys who are current last place already. They'll be staying last place, but I do believe now in a firm fighting spot for 3rd place is going to be Elation. Will they be able to keep that? It's up for, I believe, the 1st place in the group to decide. Coming up next for them, let me get confirmation on that real quick. Yes, they'll be fighting Screaming Demons, who are definitely no people to be messed with. Those are guys that are, like, honestly, some of the top in the league. That's Kexrat, Llama, Stun of the Goat, and Phenom, so by no means an easy match.
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough goings, but still, what a phenomenal play. What a phenomenal start out of Elation there. I mean, start and finish, even in the middle. I mean, a 6-1 on Skid Row S&D is nothing to shy away from. Tilted Gaming, just another L in the column. It's just, you gotta at some point find your footing if you are them. They have a lot that they can go back to the drawing board and, you know, take good, but it's just eliminating some of the bad is really what they're going to have to do if they want to win.